Robins are commonly seen at this time of year, so it's not that surprising that there is a lot of folklore and belief and superstitions surrounding these little birds. From predicting the weather to cursing those that bother them, this video is going to look at some Irish folklore surrounding these very small but very important little birds. Díomh Ushla agus fáilte. Hello and welcome. It's Misha Amy the Crafty Kyla, and this is day 2 of my 12 days of YuleTube series. This series is going to go through 12 different videos related to the festive period, and today I'm going to be looking at some seasonal folklore related to my favourite bird. So robins are non-migratory birds, which means that they don't migrate during the winter months and they stay around even through the cold periods. One thing that I've always heard about robins growing up is that when a robin appears, a loved one is near. And I've personally always found that to be true. I very much associate robins with both my granddads, both of whom are no longer physically with us. But on the days that they passed and also around their anniversaries every year, I always see robins. And I know a lot of other people in Ireland who also have similar stories about robins and associations. A lot of the time with grandparents is what I've heard just anecdotally myself. But particularly around this season of the year, you see a lot of motifs and emblems using the robin as a kind of spiritual signifier that a spirit of a loved one is near. These little birdies don't just have a spiritual significance in that kind of way. Even in the National Folklore collection, the school's collection on dukas.ie, there's a lot of references to these little birds getting their colouring of their red breast from Jesus, linking their colouring to the death of Jesus. One particular account that I found on Dukas from County Donegal says that there are many stories told of how the robin got its red breast. One of these is that when our Lord, meaning Jesus, was on a cross, a drop of his blood fell on the robin and stained its breast. From that day, the robin had always had a red breast. But that was one account where there was also a second story of how the robin got its colouring. And that story is that a fairy who had been exiled from fairyland lived with a robin and its young in the nest. The fairy was so grateful to them that it painted the breast of each robin red, and ever since the robin has had a red breast. And I don't know if it's just me, but I prefer that story. No matter what way you think the robin got its red breast, there are lots of different ways that these birds are respected. And there are also consequences for disrespecting them, much like the fair folk. In County Cork, it's recorded that people do not harm the robin. They say it's unlucky. If anybody chances to catch a robin, they let her go again because of its connection with Jesus. The old saying says, a robin bred breast in a cage puts all heaven in a rage. It's also said that if a robin's on a bush and remained there until you passed her, that you would get a present. In County Mayo, there is a record recounting robin retribution where it says that if birds' nests were disturbed by boys specifically, that the birds would get retribution by going around and cursing them. And in County Tipperary, young boys were told that if they disturbed or robbed a robin's nest, that they would get warts on their hands. Not only is a robin revered, but also kind of feared. There are some accounts that would suggest that robins were also a kind of a death omen, particularly if they came inside your house. So in County Mayo, there's a record saying that if a robin comes inside the house, that someone will leave. And in County Cork, it said that a robin flying into the house was a warning or foreboding of one of the family getting sick or dying. Not only could the robin predict death and sickness, there's also a lot of references to it predicting various types of weather. If you remember my video on weather folklore specifically, there is a lot of references to birds in that as well. So if you're interested in that, you can click up here. So in County Roscommon, it is noted that the robin is a great sign of the weather. If you see the robin sitting on a branch on top of a tree in the morning, it's a sign the weather will be fine. And if you see the robin hiding under the tree, it's a sign weather will be bad. When the robin is in the stable, it is a sign of snow. When the robin is under the bushes, it's a sign of rain. Another account from Roscommon says that it's a good sign of the weather when the robin sings on the top branch of the bush, but it's a bad sign when she sings on the low branch. And then there are various references to the robins predicting snow, specifically when they came along and got bold or brave and went up to the doorstep or the window of a house. So Sinead, I hope you enjoyed this video on robin folklore. Please let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you have any other folklore or stories that you've heard about robins, please do share them as well. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you know when new videos are coming out, and also hit the bell for notifications so you get notified when they do. Gur míle maith as teacht, thank you very much for coming, agus slán go fóill, I'll see you soon.